This tutorial is showing us how to turn our steampunk design into a resolved piece using a single media. So either a graphite pencil, a color pencil, or if you have something like a biro or a pen, you will do your task the same way, just you'll use a scribbling type method instead of a shading type method. The most important thing for you to remember when doing this technique is your light source. So think about what direction your sun is going to be coming from, and then you just apply that direction to every object or every shape within your piece. So for example, my light source is sort of coming from the top right hand side. It does change a little bit as I get further down the steampunk, because it was just made more sense to come from a bit more direct above. But just try and keep that consistent and work up your layers working from a mid-tone. So I just kind of fill in the whole section of a light shading first, and then I work back into the shadows through to the mid-tones. So just work across your piece. You can either work in sections, you can work across the whole piece at once, up to you. The hardest part is trying to keep a good contrast between your steampunk elements and your bird elements. The best way to do this is with your animal, your bird, whatever it is that you're working on, make more textural marks within that section and keep the steampunk elements more metallic, so they're more smooth and highlights, I guess, so slightly on the lighter side. I'm actually using two different colors here. I'm using a brown pencil for the background elements, and I'm using a dark blue color for my bird. It's actually a violet that I'm using. It looks quite blue in the video. I am also using a dark blue to get a little bit of darkness into some areas as well. So between the three colors, I'm adding in some darker elements. You can see here I'm just adding textural qualities to my bird legs as well. You'll also see that I'm using an eraser in the piece as well to bring back highlights. So just work through your piece, adding in value and shading. Think about where shadows would fall and add those shadows in, and just be consistent and treat each individual shape that your steampunk elements have made as an individual shape. So they're all basically circles, triangular type shapes, or the feathers might be like long metallic pieces, and they will each create and cast a shadow to what's underneath it. So just think logically through your piece as you're working. Okay, now for your background, you may not have steampunk elements in your background, so it might be just a case of adding some shading behind your animal or your bird to give it a bit of space and depth. If you do have steampunk elements in your background, you can choose how much of those you render. So you may choose to leave some unrendered, which means that they might just be simple lines, or they might be just basic shading, not as much detail as what your creature is. Remember that your animal, your bird, your person is your main focus, so you want to put a lot of effort and a lot of detail and shading into those. Please make sure that you are showing a wide range of values. I want to see dark darks, I want to see light lights, and all of those grays in between. So just work through and decide how much of your background you're going to put in. Do ground your animal. Unless it is a bird flying, it needs to be grounded, so add some shadow underneath it so it's not floating in the middle of nowhere. You also need to make sure that you take a final look at your end piece and add in some details and some darkness. So refine those lines and those edges and make sure that you've got black blacks, light lights, and all of those in between. So use your eraser, use a sharp pencil to add in edges and details and highlights. Good luck, can't wait to see your final piece.